I don't know if it was played out to the extent it was here in Portland. Jennifer, we lost count of how many businesses were broken into, including the Pioneer Place Mall in downtown Portland with looting tonight.
And no doubt sound like a broken record. I mean, but this is really unlike anything we've seen here before. We are not immune to large, violent, destructive protests, which we have seen for several years, and tonight is unlike anything we've seen. So this is a moment to come together and learn and move forward, and in the short term, clean up, because this is unreal and unlike anything that I think a lot of people have seen, and we have to sort of move through this day by day and really take this head on first before we sort of encounter some of the underlying long-term issues.
Okay, and the mayor says he will be talking with city leaders tomorrow and community leaders, and so we'll be probably hearing a lot more from the mayor. He says it's time to clean up this city and support all the businesses that were damaged. Time for the city to heal.
I'm just now trying to get a sense of how much longer we might be on air here, covering what's happening in downtown Portland. We've been on live TV since 10 o'clock tonight when a lot of this first broke out. We saw the peaceful protests with hundreds of protesters out and about in different parts of town, from downtown to Peninsula Park. And by about 10 o'clock, we saw a few of them on the move in North Portland along MLK. And then they crossed over the Burnside Bridge and made their way down into back to downtown to the Justice Center, which was some of the most shocking images right off the top of the 11 o'clock hour, when they were able to break windows at the Justice Center there and start a fire. And then from there, we just continued to see fires like this. Car fires, garbage cans.
That was a car fire, police moving quickly. And, you know, we saw the businesses being broken into. No idea of how many cars were just smashed downtown. We heard there were a lot of smashed windows in cars everywhere. So that's the scene here at 3 minutes after 2 o'clock in Portland. And like I said, we're not going to know the extent of this damage until daylight tomorrow.
We heard from Commissioner Hardesty and the mayor tonight. Commissioner Hardesty, Jeff and I noted, made a very strong statement about making arrests as well as prosecuting people. And she is one who has said that that is not my record. That is not something that she actively promotes. But there are a lot of pictures and videos of the people who will be responsible for this damage.
Let's get back to Jennifer Dowling right now. What do you have for us, Jennifer?
Well, we continue to see people going in and out of the Rite Aid store down here on Southwest 6 near Pioneer Courthouse Square. The windows are broken out. You can see them going in, helping themselves to merchandise. We've seen police go by, but they haven't stopped to address this particular issue. Being ripped out of businesses. It's just crazy down here. It continues to be, even though the big crowds have dispersed. There's still a lot of rowdy folks around here. Matt and I just had a beer thrown at us earlier. Fortunately, it didn't hit us in the head. It just splashed on us. But it's still a very aggressive crowd and dangerous. They could hurt someone. We did see assault in the street, two groups fighting. We've seen a lot of people coming out just to look around. But the people that are roving together in groups seem to be fueling each other and encouraging each other with this behavior, such as going into stores. When one person sees one person go in the store, it seems like they kind of think about it, and then they move on in. They're like, well, if someone else is doing it, I'm going to do it too. So we've seen a lot of that behavior happening out here. Portland police do have a big presence. We see police on their vans, the tactical units, the CERT teams driving down the streets. We see them driving around Pioneer Courthouse Square with their lights on. They also declared this a riot and warned people they would use dispersal devices such as gas and flashbangs, flash grenades, other things like that, even rubber bullets to clear them out. But this particular crowd here doesn't seem to be deterred, as you can see them helping themselves to items in there. That glass is completely broken out. Also, along this stretch of road on Southwest Morrison and Southwest 6, the Wells Fargo windows are broken there. We also saw some other bank ATMs that have been broken into, like the First Republic bank ATM. Kiosk down there also broken out. I haven't seen an ATM gotten into, but the screens, I've seen them smashed. Also, we saw a Chase Bank, the Chase Cafe, just a few minutes ago when we were live. Windows completely broken out there in the Chase Cafe. Right to my right, I see someone putting a cone in the street. Looks like a protester to block traffic. Just picked that up somewhere and brought it over. All right, and so there's still a lot of activity downtown here, even though the crowds have broken up. So Matt and I are going to move on and check out another location, and we'll toss it back to you in the studio.
I think an important point that the crowds there have drastically broken up, but you are seeing those stragglers who continue to go into the stores that have been broken into. And frankly, I think people in the city who are watching this are probably fed up with that. I mean, that is just a blatant way to break the law.